your girl Tay Marie, and welcome to Soul Food Podcast. Yes, this episode 4. Yes, shout out to episode 4. Today we are getting into something I would like to call restoration and resilience. And basically what we're gonna get into today is about believing that you can not only heal yourself but rebuild yourself. Before we get into that, again, y'all already know, I want to shout out my viewers. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. I appreciate y'all for tuning in on YouTube and or Spotify. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much for the support. I don't know where I would be without you guys. And also, shout out to my business. Shout out to that sponsor, Define Cosmetics. Shout out to Define Cosmetics. That is my self-care line. Tap in with your girl and buy some products, of course. And while we at it, shout out to the businesses. Don't have any today, but it's okay. It's okay, because if you guys go to Soul Food Podcast on Instagram, that is at Soul Food Pod _CLE. You guys already know, tap on the links to not only answer the question of the week, but also tap in to get your business shouted out this week or next week. Okay, the details is all in the form, so you already know, tap in so I can shout out your business, so we can spread this wealth in the community. Let's get into it. So again, today we are talking about resilience and restoring. And the question I have today is, how can faith inspire resilience and restoration? You already know, we've been talking a lot so far these past couple of episodes about my situation and just how I went from one thing last year and this year being a whole different story for me. One thing I say that I'm on now is investing into my future. I never want to see that point of my life ever again. And if you know better, you gonna do what? Do better. I definitely believe if you have faith in your heart, if you have hope, and you see a clear vision of where you're trying to get to, nothing is better than getting yourself together and doing what's right for you so you can have a better situation in the future. And of course, we got some steps that we are about to talk about developing resilience through spiritual growth. And we're going to talk about that today, and starting with seeking support. When I was in the situation that I was in, I had to do the biggest thing that I am so uncomfortable with doing, and that is seeking out help from my family mainly. And also shout out to my friends that came out and helped me. For one, I first received help from my uncle. Shout out to him, and let God rest his soul. When I got the opportunity to get help from my uncle, he was there for me and he understood my situation. And I don't know too deep on if the situation was heavy on him, but I want to just say right here and right now that I am blessed to have the people in my life that I do when it comes to my family, first and foremost, because I was in a situation where I felt like I had nobody. Before it all happened to me, I felt like I was alone, and that's because of my mindset. I was going through a lot and I felt alone. I felt like nobody understood my situation. I was scared to really talk about it because the conversation really went deep. And I was very embarrassed. Like I told you guys before, I was questioning not only myself but me as a parent about if I was making the right decision for myself and my son. But I had to do better. for myself and my son to get to where we are today. Things may not be where I exactly wanted to be or envision myself wanting to be, but I had to come to a realization of, you made it past the first step. Now you're at level 2. So in level 2, how can you get better, but also make sure that you don't drop down to level 1 or back to the starting line you were at in the beginning? So I really had to do the next part, which was do self-reflection. What happened? What happened in that point of time that made you fall like that? What was consuming your mind? What was more important than the stability that you were lacking? Than the stability that you did not have anymore? Like, where did it all begin? And where it all began was me trying to fake it. Like I had a perfect situation. Fake it like I didn't need help. When people would ask me, especially my family, are you all right? You doing good? You need anything? And me feeling so embarrassed, scared, too ashamed of judgment, I always lied and said, yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm cool. And even if I was receiving help, getting mad at the help because, I'm not thinking about everybody else situation. I'm just thinking about my own situation. I can't tell you what I really need, because then I feel like now I'm putting my burdens on you. I feel like I'm giving you something that I should be able to do myself. But it's just like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to tell somebody, I don't know what I'm doing, and I may need a little support. And the criticism that I was so scared of receiving from the next person, I may have needed that. I may have needed to hear that. I may needed to open my mind up to what was really going on. What was I really accepting? Because what I was doing was not helping me, was not serving me. It's okay to realize that. And I understand that now. Once I got to that step of, okay, now I'm in a safe and stable place. Now I can really focus. But the challenge in there was truly staying focused and not going backwards. I spent a lot of time by myself in that moment of time. And when you're sitting in a space where it's just you, it is very hard, because then you start thinking about things. You start thinking about everything that you've been through, and you start thinking about, how am I going to get out this spot? How am I going to get to the next level? What do I need to do right now? Like, you start getting anxious. And that's where I was. And those thoughts can turn into negative aspects after a while, because then it's just like, how am I going to do that? I couldn't even do this. How am I going to get even here? I can't get there. But if you keep telling yourself that, eventually you're going to start believing it and get distracted from what you need to be doing in the first place. Again, taking those small steps to get to the next step. Of course, I was big thoughts, big dreams. Oh, I want to be living here and doing this and all this other stuff. But before I get there, I have to start somewhere else. I couldn't live in my uncle's house forever. I had to figure out, okay, first of all, how am I going to get a car? Okay, how am I going to get a house? Especially after losing my house. How am I going to get accepted again and gain the next person's trust to know that I am a good tenant and I will do better this time? I just fell short, and it put me in a position where I have to prove myself that I can do this. I was put up with a battle that was not like the usual I'm used to. Because like I told you before, I'm used to going to the car dealership, going to apartment buildings or whatever, and going straight into the office, handling the business. Boom, I got a house. Boom, I got an apartment. Boom, I got a new car. But that was not my situation no more. In my situation now, I had to pay more money, have more money, prove myself 3 times more. I felt like I had to really prove myself worthy to be in the position. Which brings us to our next one, which is forgiveness. I had to forgive myself for the dumb decisions that I made. And it's not even dumb, you know, but it was just like putting things before my priorities, lining up my priorities. I made a priority list that I seen from this woman on TikTok. She was talking about that. And my priorities is first God, myself, my son, my mother, my father, and then my family and friends. That's how I gotta move. Is it dealing with the relationship between me and God? Is it about my son? Is it about my mom? Is it about my dad? Is it about my family? Is it about my friends? If it ain't in that, it's not a priority to me. If it ain't in that order, it can't be a priority to me. That's where my priorities are. And I had to forgive myself because I had my priorities messed up in the certain time frame that I was in. Because I was not thinking about that. I was thinking about perfection. How does it look? Versus how did it make me feel? And what was it doing in my life? And the last one is setting goals to get to where I needed to go. After getting over the sadness of where I was and how I was seeing things and how I realized I was not happy, I had to start setting goals. Okay, they want this from me at the car dealership. Okay, thank God my other uncle came through for me and we started talking chickens, which led me to where I am now living. From there, I had to make a plan, and the biggest part that had me always stuck was putting it in action. I had to take action on my goals. I couldn't just write them out and leave them there and hope that God was just gonna get the things moving for me. No, I had to do the work myself. And at that point in time, my biggest challenge was stack your money. Don't spend it on stupid stuff. Realize you have something coming up. Realize you have big bills about to come back up to you again. You have to set some goals and you have to make sure you're good. And I'm still having a challenge stewarding over my money, but at least now I know that I have to gain that relationship with my money in order for me to get to where I want to be. So I definitely feel like once you get to that point of realizing what's important and what is not, you are already there. Now it's time to move. Because if you don't move, you just stagnate. You just sitting there hoping that somebody's gonna save you. Ain't nobody gonna save you. Ain't nobody gonna save you, because guess what? They out here worrying about themselves, them and God. You ain't in the plan unless you in the plan, unless you that priority. But still, everybody else has their own plan. Everybody else has their own life agenda and everything else that they are trying to execute. You gotta make sure that you can maintain yourself while you're going through all of this. And I want to bring the viewer's question in by saying that the question is, can you share a time when faith helped you bounce back? And the faith that I had was something is going to happen. You know, something good is going to happen to me. I know I'm stuck right now. I feel stuck. I feel useless. I don't feel good about myself right now and where I put myself and my child in the position. But something is going to turn around so it can be done. because this ain't the end all be all. This is not it for me. Because guess what? God woke me up another day, another day, another day, and that means that he's given me another day to prove myself to be worthy, to have exactly what is for me. And eventually I got that car. Eventually the house was ready for me. I moved in, I got the keys. We in action. When you have hope in your heart, even when people are telling you, is it there yet? Is it done yet? You said that it was going to be done this time. Why it ain't done yet? It reminds me of the book in the Bible that kept coming to me every time I needed to just open up my Bible and see something. See what God is giving me. And the story he kept giving me was Nehemiah. Now, I skimmed through it, y'all. I ain't read it. I think I read one passage, but mainly in that story of Nehemiah, it was about waiting. It was about waiting and being patient. And in that story, everybody was doubting Nehemiah about what he was waiting for. I truly believe that when it comes to having resilience, when it's coming back to restoring things and rebuilding things in your life, you have to know that it's going to take some time. Things aren't just going to turn around tomorrow. It could. However, if it does not, that does not mean this is it for you. You have to be patient. You have to know that, okay, it did not happen for me today, but I'm not going to quit today either. Tomorrow I'm going to come right back to it, and it's going to get better. I'm going to get steps closer to exactly where I'm going to be. And once you establish that in your heart, once you tell yourself that versus listening to the negative in your mind, I promise you're already there. So how do you bounce back? In my words, you bounce back by truly knowing that regardless of what people say, what your situation is, whatever, you're going to get to exactly where you're trying to get to. You just got to be patient. And God's going to test that patience. And he's going to hear you every step of the way. He's going to look at you like, you don't believe me? You don't trust me? I got you here. Even though you don't like it here, I still got you here. You're blessed. You know? Once upon a time, I was helping my siblings out, on an accident. It really was not on purpose. It just felt like that. And it put me in a position for the first time where I felt like I gotta do something. Maybe for the fact of like, these are my siblings, I love them, I want to do for them, I want to help them in some way. Or, putting on my big sister hat and being like, I can't do this, I can't leave here until I know they're okay. And it ended up with my siblings coming down here and rebuilding their life. And I didn't know how it was gonna happen. I just told them to get in the car and let's go back to Cleveland. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's figure this out. And in that moment of time, I was out here doing it by myself. I had no kid at the time. It was just me. All I had was my little blue Cavalier. I was just like, hey, YOLO, like, let's do this. Let's figure out how we gonna get y'all on y'all feet. Like I said, I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but luckily an old friend of mine came through and helped my brothers get a place to stay. My brother ended up meeting somebody that helped him get a job, and the story goes on. I seen right then and there how having faith in your heart, having hope in your heart that things is going to work out for the better. I seen it with my own eyes. And it gave me hope to know that, okay, I could do for myself too. If I really put my best foot forward, I can get in the motion as well. Which that same year, I ended up getting my first apartment. Living, doing that. I fell into some money issues back then as well. But again, shout out to family and having support. It helped get me through. But back then I was hard-headed. I didn't see the lesson that I see now. I was more mad and ungrateful at that time because I wanted to bump my head. I seen in that point of time how I went from having that negative mindset of like, oh my God, I shouldn't even done this. How am I gonna help them out? And I can hardly help myself. I don't have nothing to give them. But at the same time, that drive from there back home made me think like, you gonna figure it out. You got the first step, and the first step to see if they even wanted to stay. I got them a hotel and I was like, okay, y'all, I give y'all 3 days. If y'all really want to stay here, I got y'all. We gonna figure that out. And they decided to stay. And then from there, everything fell into action. Everything fell how it was supposed to fall. And I was proud of them. And I was just happy about the circumstances that it came out to be. So you may not see the plan or the vision right now. You may just have that vision that God gave you to know that everything is going to be fine. And when you have that and you believe that it's going to happen, that vision is true that you've seen, that's all you need. That's how you bounce back. So I'm going to wrap it up from here. And I just want to say again, thank you guys for tuning into I almost said self-care podcast. Ooh, gotta get some self-care in there, y'all. But no, thank you guys for stopping by the Soul Food Podcast. You already know. I don't know if this was a short one, but hey, we got it in and we talked about it. But again, I just want to thank the viewers. Thank you to my viewers. I love y'all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube and on Spotify. You guys are awesome. I love you. Okay? I love y'all. Of course, follow the page on IG. That's Soul Food Podcast. SOULFOOD pod POD_CLE. Hello. Follow the page, and while y'all there, follow me and tap on the links. First of all, tap on the link to answer the question of the week. Yes, but also to get your business shouted out. Let's go. And while we're shouting businesses out, shout out to the sponsors, shout out to my business, Define Cosmetics. Y'all already know. So then, since y'all know, let's get hip. Let's get hip, y'all. All right, y'all already know. Tap in with your girl. Buy some product and let's spread this wealth in the community. Hello? Y'all okay? I heard somebody say that today, and I thought that was the funniest thing. Y'all all right? You okay? You heard me. But no, and also, if this message inspired you today, please feel free to shout out your girl and get people hip to some what? Soul food, y'all. All right. You already know I'm hype. Y'all already know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, okay? And again, it's been great. It's on with y'all. I love you guys so much. Again, please share this page, share this video to whomever you feel like needs to hear it. And I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. And it's been Soul Food Podcast with your girl Tay Marie, and I'm out. Peace.